Sense goes, hi everybody. Hi everybody. That's my Dr. Nick. It's one of two impressions that I do. Let's bring James in here. It's James.
That's me.
Did you do any impressions?
Oh my god, yeah, I do a ton of impressions.
I mean, good ones.
Yeah, I do some great impressions.
All right.
With my impression work.
I am not familiar with your impression work. And look, wouldn't it be funny? Haha, James is going to do some impressions for me. Wouldn't it be wouldn't it be funny if I was just like a stick in the mud and I was like, that sucks. Look how interesting I am. No, I will give you an honest open book. I want to see an impression. And I'll be completely honest with you about how I feel. I did not know you were. Well, I mean, I know you're Chastity Bono, but that's not an actual impression. That is more of an embodiment, I don't know, a reimagining of what she would be. So, guy, give me one, and I'll be.
Well, that's not fair because the Chaz Bono is my best one.
But that's not based in reality.
It sounds exactly like him. It does. I'm not doing a parody of Chaz Bono. I am doing Chaz Bono's voice. Now, it sounds more like a parody because usually when I'm doing Chaz Bono's voice, I'm trying to talk someone into giving me their junk.
Right. Yeah, that's the bit. Chaz Bono.
Bugs, you're not using your junk anymore. Why, if you just cut it off and give it to me, I'll actually get some work done with it instead of letting it just hang there like you do.
Yeah, and if you go listen to Chaz Bono, it's exactly what he sounds like.
I was going to do a Chaz Bono bit with you. I was going to riff. I was going to improv with you a little bit there. See where it went. You broke character. Anyway, that's fine because we've got other people we need to say hello to. It is the one, the only Key is here. Hi, Key.
How you fellas doing, man?
We're doing okay.
Yeah.
Did you know James does impressions?
Well, I've heard a couple of them, and that one was delightful. It's been years, but I enjoyed the Chaz Bono.
But I think the people who think they can't do impressions are lying. I think everybody can do a Scarface. Like everybody can do like a Robert De Niro.
Well, there are certain, I think, traits of mimicry that we all have as humans. I mean, probably just as defense mechanisms. So yes, to some degree, I think that maybe we can't impersonate. But you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people like Frank Caliendo, dudes who can just drop voices where you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I am not that level or even close. I'm not a Jay Farrow level, but doing
gas always blew me away.
Yeah. Doing 200 radio bits, I have developed many accents and characters, and yeah.
Like who else do you do though? See, Key, I didn't know that James did impersonation.
You heard me do characters.
Character work is not the same as doing impersonations.
You gotta hear me do a Scarface. You know what I'm talking about? I don't know about Yayo, man. You fucking kidding me? First you get the money, then you get the power, then you get the khakis, then you get the car, and then you get a bunch of coke. I don't know. Then you get to fuck Michelle Pfeiffer, but she don't have no titties. But that's okay. She don't have no titties. You just do your tongue like a lizard.
Oh my God.
See, I like that. It made me want to buy coke right there.
Do you think he'll do Austin Powers next? Maybe Wayne from Wayne's World? Come on, man. Give me some good ones. These aren't stupid. Everybody can do that. What, you going to do Arnold next? Hey, do Arnold. That'll be a really cutting edge. Come on.
Yeah.
See what
Get to the chopper. And then I'm going to fuck my maid or something. I don't know.
That's not terrible, but it's honestly not an impersonation of Arnold Schwarzenegger.
No, it's not. It's not. Okay, I do Buffalo Bill. That one keeps coming up in radio bits.
That's a good one. See, this is a good one because it's rare. I don't know anybody's ever done a Buffalo Bill before, and could work in many comedy scenarios. James, let me hear it.
Why don't you come over to my house and you can see this new podcast studio I've made in my basement?
Okay. Right? I like it. All right, hey, let's role play. I'm going to be the cop standing on your porch. I'm going to be asking if you've seen this missing senator's daughter, and I believe your line is she a big fat girl or something like that, okay? So let's...
Oh, I know the line.
Here we go.
Hello?
Mr. His name...
Jamie Gum.
Jamie Gum, that's it.
Hello?
Mr. Gum... I'm Clarice Starling of the Federal Bureau of Investigations. I was wondering if I could speak with you for a moment.
Sure. How can I help you?
Well, I'm looking for this mission girl. She's a senator's daughter. Maybe you've seen it on the TV. I'm just wondering if you've seen this girl.
No. Oh, wait. Is she a great big fat lady?
And scene. Thank you,
Beautiful.
ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
What a thespian. Beautiful. Both of you did good.
I see, but I don't do impressions. So that was a bad Clarice Starling.
I
I
enjoyed
thought
it.
I was talking to Jodie Foster for a second.
Yeah, I
thought
was.
you
I went to
were.
Yeah, he transferred us to a place. You know what I'm saying?
I thought you would maybe pull the audio from the movie or something.
Gentlemen, I may not be able to do impersonations, but I am an actor. I can pull off a scene. So that's what you just witnessed there. All right, I don't know where E is. You know, today is E's birthday. Today is,
It
although
is?
he's not, yeah, it's his birthday.
I feel like
And
an
it's a
ass.
big
I talked
one.
to him like twice today, and I didn't know that. Holy
It's his
crap.
60th. So it's kind of a big deal. It's a landmark.
Yeah. But he's not acknowledging it. He made that clear last night on the show when we were talking about it. I spoke with him very early this morning, and the first thing I said to him was, "Happy birthday!" And he didn't even say thank you, just moved right on to the order of business. Just didn't even acknowledge it. But then this afternoon, I gave him a call because I had to run by his house and drop something off. So I said, "Are you home?" Yeah, I had his baseball mitt. I go, he's playing baseball tomorrow night and Friday night. So we're gonna go out to the big Highland Park. It's a bunch of Highland Park rich dads doing this charity baseball game they do every year. It's fun anyway. So my kid had his mitt because Emil's got, of course, one of those really cool ass rich guy mitts, right? So so when my kid wants to play, he takes the rich guy mitt.
What's a rich guy mitt? There's
Oh,
rich guy
like-
mitt.
Oh, dude, like a $500, $600 mitt. Yeah.
Is it made out of people or something? Like, what is it? Is it just a different kind of leather?
Yes,
It's made out of like baby seal skin or
No,
something.
no. It's made out of the skins of Negro League players. That's why it's so. No, seriously, it's really nice, really
Can we
expensive.
just erase that part and just go back and like hit the dump button on that?
rich guy mitts.
Or we could just not throw a spotlight on it and move past like it was just,
Yeah, it's not a big deal. That's the
either or. So I had to return the mitt. So I called him and I said, "Hey, are you home? I want to drop the mitt off." And he said, "No, I'm not." And I could hear that he was out someplace. And I'm like, what are you out to dinner? And he's like, and then I heard Dom. I heard his kid, and I'm like, your family ain't adhering to your rule. That you're not so he was out to dinner. He went to a birthday dinner. I think that's probably why he's not here tonight, because he's out not celebrating his birthday.
Yeah, I just texted him. I ain't heard back. He normally hits me right back. Yeah, so when I said happy birthday, he's probably gonna ignore it. That's crazy. I feel like an ass though. It's like I've been talking to him all day and I ain't said anything. Didn't know.
Well, look at how. Don't feel like an ass. I spent the first, what am I? Okay, so 50. So I spent the first 30 years of my life not knowing when any of my friends' birthdays were. None of us did. And then Facebook came along. And then all of a sudden with Facebook, we're all expected to know everybody's birthday. And it is a great help. And it's very handy, when you want to reach out to somebody and say, "Hey, happy birthday." But don't feel bad. We never knew each other's birthdays. Nobody ever, did you, James, growing up, did you know your best friend's birthday?
My top like 4 best friends, I knew their birthday, but I'm from Bug Tussle, so we see the same 10 people all day, every day.
Nobody's birthday. Okay, how about you? Did you
I
know
still
your
remember
friend's
their
birthdays
birthday.
growing up?
I still remember Chris's birthday is February 17th. Mullen's birthday is May 7th. Brandon's birthday is November 7th, I think.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Hey, you
Key,
doing good.
growing up, birthdays? Do you know people's birthdays?
I mean, and it sounds horrible. If I knew they like put on a good party, I would know their birthday. Like, but other than that, I'd always forget. And like somebody maybe mentioned it to me early in the day, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I knew that." And that's how I would get over it. Hell, I even forget a lot of my relatives' birthdays. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I know 2 birthdays. I know my mom's birthday, and I know my kid's birthday. That's it. And I know my own. That's it.
Ooh, are we trying out the chat now?
Well, yeah, we've been minimizing everything when possible because of my crazy streaming issues, which hopefully will be fixed by Monday.
How come you don't have bars above your name in the previews?
I do.
Marching over there.
I got green bars. I got all green.
Okay.
I'm 10 out of 10 at the moment. But
Good.
who knows? That could change. Yeah, I don't know anybody's birthday. James, you knew people's birthdays.
I do. Like Osterland's birthday was March 10th. which was also shared by Fisher. Angie, my former producer, her birthday's the same day as my wife, so that's not really fair that I remember that crap.
I never remembered wives' birthdays.
And then I have two friends whose birthdays on 420.
Right.
Nice.
Yeah, DJ Slab One and Dwayne Stein. They're 420 birthdays.
They share a birthday with Hitler. That's Hitler's birthday.
Well, and weed, that's the day weed was invented.
And then Hitler was invented on that day.
Hitler was invented. Yeah, he was actually, I guess.
Yeah, he was. It's the day Hitler and weed. I wanted to birthdays. What were we talking? I had a very interesting.
Amel's birthday. He's ditching us because he's hanging out with
Yeah.
family. Dude, I'm interested in this family stuff because look, I don't want to. Well, I do want to encourage some bad behavior here.
Hi, John.
I invite you, if you have some time to do a little light reading, just go Google search Emil Cirillo.
No.
Just start reading. Just start reading what pops up.
Co-host, you're doxing your co-host right here on the Pugs and Parker.
Doxing involves exposing otherwise non-public information. This is, I'm just saying, go through the stuff that's just already readily available at your fingertips. And I don't know where to start because, you know, there's the old E who got in trouble for, you know, the good bricks that look like fish scales when you open it up. Yeah, and then he also got into, there's a lot of legal stuff that I was reading up on this lawsuit that he got in over the show that he was part of on 105.3. Yeah. I had no idea what was going on in the background. He was dealing with any of this. And most of this happened right after I left. So I kind of feel like, you know, what a crap friend. You know, I get involved with all these people and then I take off. But that's interesting because I now that I know more about that situation, I'm kind of dying to ask him about that. You know, like, what do you do? It sounds very, you know, what it sounds like? It sounds like how Facebook started between Zuckerberg and the Winklevoss twins, and then Zuckerberg angled out the Winklevoss twins, and finally they were just like, fine, we'll take $83 million. And you know.
Well, you can ask him, but you know how that could go. We could be doing
like 4 hours
straight. You know, well, he's going to tell you a story, and it's going to go on and on and on, and then we're going to have to stay on him to keep the car on the road because he's going to, you know, he's going to go in the ditch a bunch of times.
Chase rabbits. Sure.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. He's going to chase every damn rabbit that he sees that has absolutely nothing to do with the overall threat of the story. But.
And then there's also, I found interesting in the legal bunny trail, to continue the metaphor, that Emil has left, is him and Wendy. There's divorce paperwork that was filed in 2020. So, like, are they together, or did that get thrown out? Or, I mean, he's like having dinner with.
He told me it's technically separated because I asked him if he was out chasing tail at the Derby, and he said no.
Discussing his personal life like this. I'm just saying, with all due respect.
He's a good guy.
Of course, but you know, whatever. If he hasn't brought it up and discussed, let's just leave people out of it who do not want to be discussed publicly.
All right, but look, I know that he was. He still hangs out with her on a regular basis.
Yes.
And they have a kid together, and they are great. The co-parenting duo.
Yes.
I know that they went to Austin together because we had the live reports on this show.
Yes,
so they still go on trips together. So they still kind of sound like they're together. But I know Emil has like a backup house that Pugs is staying in, and so that's not indicative of the most healthy relationship possible. And so I really.
Well, now hold on a second. I would say that his relationship is probably, and I've been seeing it close up now for 2 years, probably the healthiest damn married relationship that I've ever seen. They are the happiest couple that I've ever seen. They do nothing but get along. They hold hands. They're buddies. They're pals. Yeah. They go out to dinner. They just don't live together. They just have separate lives. Now, whether or not that will continue, I don't know. I can't speak for them. But I can speak for what I've seen and from what anybody who's in his personal universe, you know, people we hang out with and stuff, and what they have witnessed with their own eyes. It is non-traditional. But I'll tell you, it's pretty awesome. I mean, I think it is. It may not be for everybody, and everybody doesn't have to use that kind of, you know, strategy.
Situation.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it seems healthy to me.
It is not an open marriage. Don't get that twisted. That's not the thing. You know, they go to church every Sunday. They go to dinner every Saturday. They're together every Sunday evening. They see each other at every kid's practice. They share cars. I mean, it's not.
But you doesn't live with her?
No, they have. You know what? I don't want to talk about it. Other than to say that I've witnessed. It's non-traditional. If he ever wants to talk about it, he can. It's non-traditional, but it looks amazing to me. It looks really good to me.
Well, look, I'm not going to act like I'm above the fray, and I'm not just being some nosy bastard who likes to pry in other people's personal life. I totally do, and it's a fault that I have. I do enjoy it, but I am genuinely, just not in a vindictive way, curious about other people's situation, because my wife and I discovered that multiple of our friends that are married sleep in separate bedrooms. We just found 3. Yeah, we went through like asking all of our friends, y'all sleep in separate bedrooms? Because we found out one couple did, and so we asked around and we found 2 more that do.
I would say easily half the couples that I know.
Yeah, I do. I do most of the time.
Bedrooms?
Key.
Well, because I'm up late a lot of times and working on music, doing things. So I'll just crash in and plus, like, I just have a different sleep pattern than she has. I've been a night owl for 20 years, so it's just easier that way. But I'll go join her and whatnot. But most of the time, it's not because of one thing or another. It just ends up being like that way. Like I'll probably end up sleeping in this room, the guest room tonight. You know what I mean? It's just
And I hate sleeping with people, and it doesn't mean I don't love you. I can be in a relationship with you, but I do not want to share a bed with anyone ever again. And it doesn't mean I don't love you. I love you more than what we're going to be buried next to each other. We're going to rot into the soil together for eternity. But I don't want to sleep with you.
How much of this do you attribute to you being a single child?
100%. These are all unbreakable, deeply rooted in me traits of the only child syndrome. Absolutely. I have to learned about that in therapy almost immediately. Getting that junk out of the way, why I'm so difficult, why I'm so selfish, but also why I'm also a good teammate, because only children are good teammates. They're just not they're just not good partners. And if you understand the difference there, a team is like a group of people all working together, whereas a partner is just one-on-one. We're not good sharers one-on-one, but we're good teammates.
Yeah, so I'm fascinated to find out the overlap because I think of you, Pugs, during this. I bet you would prefer to sleep with someone else, and then you just confirmed that 1 minute ago. But I wonder how many of the people who sleep in separate bedrooms are either only children or first children, because something I've noticed, I've done a lot of kid reading since I've had 1,000 kids. And there's some crazy stats about only children and first children that are not shared by second, third, fourth other children, right? Like 80% of astronauts, well, actually I think it's like 83, but I don't remember the number off the top of my head. I just remember it started with an 8. 80-something% of astronauts are the firstborn kid, meaning either the only kid or the firstborn kid, right?
That's
and so there's levels of achievement that are reached by
Neil Armstrong was an only child.
Who was?
Neil Armstrong.
Yeah, and look, that is they don't necessarily do better than other kids on average, but when you look at the bell curve in the extremities, the very high achievers, I guess I'm doing it backwards. The very high achievers are overwhelmingly first children,
and only children as well. And I can tell you why that is, because we learn our passions and we learn how to do things we love to do without the distraction of having other people around. Children who grow up having to share and are constantly being interrupted by a bully big brother or a dumbass little brother, you know what I mean? They don't have the same sort of concentration.
Well, it seems to be something that gets locked in the first 3 years of life, because only children and it's just first children, period. But if there's not a second or third kid,
it's 5 years. 5 years is what's considered the generational difference. If you have 5 years between you, you're considered an only child. Because at 5 years, you were a 15-year-old is not treated the same as a 10-year-old.
Okay, so I would be considered an only child because both my sisters are like 6 and 7 years older than me.
You are, yes. You were the baby. You were treated as an only child, and you were probably the baby.
No. The stats only work in the achievement factors.
Well, I'm not talking about stats. I'm talking about therapeutically and how it emotionally affects you as an adult.
Okay. but the people that are like the Fortune 500 CEOs, the people are that they win Nobel prizes or they're like grandmaster at chess or whatever. These super duper high achievers are the firstborns, and so that includes only children because only children are still firstborn, the only born. But it doesn't work in reverse. If there was 5 years and you're like the second or third child, and you have an older kid that's way older than you, and there's a few theories, and I don't know which one I lean more on, but I like to ask other people about because Pugs, you've read more about this, so I'm dying to ask you.
Well,
now.
wait, I should point out. Yes, I know a lot. I've been in. I know a lot about being an only child, from learning about myself and why I'm so broken and all that stuff. But also, my son is an only child. So when he was born and when it was looking like he was probably going to be the only one, yeah, I mean, I really got into it. So I love this conversation.
Yeah, and so I want you to think anecdotally to your experience and think about big families, because if it's just like 2 kids, then you basically have a 50-50 shot of the younger one being better than the older one. But when you think of like all these, like I think about my kids, I have 4. The oldest one is the one that seems to be the music prodigy. He seems to have the longest attention span. He seems to be the one that, not necessarily because he has the ability, but it's just the ability and the focus and all the traits that kind of came together. And me and my wife were the same mom and dad that we were for him and the other 3 kids, but it just seemed to stick with him faster at a younger age than it did with the other kids. And so I like juggling around. Why? Is it because the other kids are a distraction? Is it because if you have an older sibling, then you lean on them for learning versus your parents? Or because your parents are like exhausted and they have to divide their energy between you and an older kid, that's the one I lean more toward. And I'm sure it's a mix of all these things. But I just like having this conversation with other people who've read up on it, because I'm really just starting to go down that hole, and I think you might be further than me on that, Pugs.
Well, first of all, I think it's very healthy for you to so confidently declare that you have a favorite child, and the other 2 children, the spares, or the other 3, they just need to get used to this now, that you have a favorite, Daddy has a favorite. So that's healthy that you're getting that out there. What was your question? I forgot what the question was.
But why is because here's some of the reverse stats that before you.
Wait, let me address what you just said about how the one kid seems to have all of this stuff and the other kids, they haven't really developed yet. Well, first of all, he's older, so you've got more of an idea of what he's good at. The youngest ones, you don't know yet. They might be incredible. But here's the thing that I love about you, which certainly I don't have the luxury of. You're essentially like running a Baskin Robbins of you and your wife's genetic possibilities. You've got because all the kids are coming from the same pool of cells and all that stuff, but they're just a little different recipe. You know what I mean? They're all just, so you're getting to see a number of different versions of what I think that's pretty cool. I only got the one version.
Yeah, well, me and my wife are that spreadsheet, that sort of pie chart, because we have 2 blonde kids, a redhead kid, and a brunette kid. So that's cool. Really are, like the biology textbook where they talk about recessive genes. That's me and the wife, right? We have 2 kids with light eyes, 2 kids with dark eyes. We got 2 kids that can get a tan, 2 kids that can't get a tan, and so it's a beautiful cross section. But when you look at the stats in reverse, like when you look at who is in prison, it's overwhelmingly not only children and first children. The prison fodder is second, third, and boy, if there's an accidental child, they're
going.
Yeah. And so you even kind of intimated beforehand that if there's enough of a separation, well, then it can reset and you can be considered an only child. No, those long separated kids actually perform the worst.
Well, okay, but that's a different set of circumstances.
It is.
I believe that the reason for what you describe here has more to do with the fact that an only child, let's just talk about an only child. An only child is the center of attention. They get the absolute best. The parents dote on them. Best schools, best teachers, best tutors, whatever it is that they need. So the expectations and the preparedness of the only child is typically a lot better than like a third kid the surprise baby. You know, the parents are like in their 40s and they're like, fuck it, he's 13. I don't care where he is.
They're
You know what I
exhausted,
mean?
right?
Right. They're done with it because they've already done that with the first 2 kids. So that's what I think is going on there. Key?
Yeah, like I was gonna ask because like it's kind of weird with my family because I was the successful one for a long time. I was the one, but I was the last. You know what I'm saying? I was separated by my sisters. And my firstborn, the firstborn, my sister Kim, God rest her, she was the wild one. She was the party man. She partied until, you know what I mean? So she was at her 40s. She was wild. She didn't have kids like me. She didn't have them until late either. The middle one right now,
How many kids are we talking about? 3?
yeah, just 3. Me including both my sisters. And my middle sister, Michelle, she's like mad stable. She's very calm, completely different lifestyle, always had it, completely different taste in music. Everything is just completely different. Like even the guys that she dated was completely different than my the firstborn. And so we all have different personalities. I'm a little bit closer to the firstborn with my attitude and how I handle things, but I ended up being way more successful, you know, financially at the time than she was. And it's weird to see. I know the firstborn, my sister Kim, had no patience, 0, and a temper. I'm the most patient out of all 3 of us, you know, and it's just weird how that worked out because I was thinking the firstborn, because she was she was there for a while. I was thinking she would be the most patient. She had no patience. So when she had kids, she'd be screaming at them real quick, and I'd have to be the one to be like, "Hey man, give them some chill."
I know you just clicked that, Pugs. I was thinking the same thing. We got some really good comments.
Yeah, Byron says, I was the youngest of 4. My folks were done. That explains a lot about you, Byron. So, you're the youngest of 4. Makes sense now.
Yeah, I see. I was the youngest of 2, but I think I was so bad I exhausted my parents. And by the time, you know, I was in my teenage years, my parents were like, just stay out of jail, right?
Your sister is how older than you, but how much?
2 years, like not even.
You guys were raised like a normal nuclear family.
Oh yeah,
but dad and 2 kids. You were raised together. You had to share. You fought at dinner. You know, you had those kinds of experiences.
right. And the stats bear out in my family, not just my kids, but between me and my sister. My sister was one that's far more stable. You know, she didn't get in trouble at school. She didn't experiment with drugs. She didn't have any run-ins with the law, even though I've never been arrested. It's just because I don't get caught. But she's like I don't want to say she's perfect, but she's closer to the ideal of what you would want in a kid. And like this evidence, I wish I was like the smarter, more stable, more successful one, but I'm not. My sister's better than me, and I'm a second kid. And I feel that what Byron said, by the time the 4th kid rolls around, your parents are exhausted. Yeah, I think that's a big part of it in a lot of these other scenarios, because like the 4th kid going to prison is far more likely than the first kid.
Yeah. And again, that's got to be because the parents are done. Al in the chat room says, I was an only child, but found that I was adopted when I was 17. Now I have 5 brothers and 2 sisters. Well, you are an only child because you were raised in an empty home where you were the sole focus of your parents. The fact that when you got older, you suddenly realized you had all these, I would have, as an only child, you kidding me? To have the biggest pile at Christmas and then at 17 find out you got brothers to party with? Come on!
That happened to a few friends of mine, man. One friend in particular, Super K, still finding out that he has brothers and sisters. Like, I can't keep up. Seriously. I'm like, yo, wait, who is this person? I've never met. I've known you all my life. I found out, you know, my dad, and his dad's a great guy. His dad's a great guy. But like, I'm like,
all the ladies think so.
Yeah. I'm just like, what the yo? And I was raised basically with this dude, and I'm like, yo, how the hell are you finding out? Like, it's crazy. Still new ones. I think there was a new one that popped up last year. It's nuts.
Hey, my mom found a new sister at age 50.
Oh, I would love that. Yeah. I would love to find that. I would just look, I wouldn't trade being 10 years old and being the only child. And are you ready for this one, guys? Not only the only child, the only grandchild. Oh
yeah.
Oh my God. Are you kidding me? Who's got the biggest pile at Christmas?
Yeah, but the family tree doesn't have any branches. It's just a trunk.
Just me. Me with a big giant open trunk saying, put all the presents around. Trunk.
Yeah.
That's crazy. It was good. Okay, what else do we have? Where was it? There was another one that I wanted to mention. Leslie, who said that she was Where is Leslie's comment? Here it is. Leslie says here. She says, my brother's 10 years older than me. I've always considered myself an only child. Yeah, he would, because no, James, not statistically. I'm talking about the way your emotional state, the way you process. She will act like an only child, because now she may not statistically fall into these firstborn categories and all these things, but she will act as an only child because she didn't share the dinner table with another kid. When she was 10, her sibling was 20. That's an adult. That's another adult. She didn't have to share toys with her sibling. She didn't have to fight for the remote with her sibling. And when you don't have to do all these things, you become a broken adult because you don't learn how to be with other people.
Share.
That's exactly. So she would be on her way to being a broken adult too, because she probably didn't have, those.
See, but that's the cool thing about this stat is the fact that even though you would think the parallel raising that she had toward that of an only child would be the same. She didn't have to share anything, but the only child is still far more likely to be an astronaut than she is.
I want to correct Jeff Ballard here. Jeff Ballard says, explains a lot. Pugs being an only child of an only child. I'm not an only child of an only child. I'm not. My mom has a sister. I have an uncle. I have an aunt. And no,
I don't have kids.
They didn't. The sister has 2 kids, but that came much later. Like, I think her first kid was born when I was 18, and all my good Christmases were already in the bank. You know what I mean? It was like I already got it all.
And you were the only grandchild at the time. Okay.
And then So yeah, no.
All right. So here, let's start talking theories here. I like this. Barney's theory.
Okay.
Yeah, more attention as infants and toddlers combined with being given more responsibility at earlier ages. That is something that has come up because the oldest child is often the one has turned around and said, keep up with your brother and sister, or can you hold the money, or can you pay, or can you make sure they get their homework, or can you make sure they're at the bus stop? And the fact that they are treated as an adult and they are given more responsibility could be partially responsible for why the kid that's given the responsibility versus the kid that gets to just lollygag is more successful.
Makes sense.
That's a great point.
Makes sense. What if the old, like my sisters used to have to watch me, but my oldest was mad abusive towards me. So, yeah, okay, I'll take care of him. All right. Punch me in the face or something. So, you know what I'm saying? It's just, I don't know. And then she wilded out. So I don't know if that always sticks.
You want to go, wait, here, I got another character trait of only children. This is one that speaks to how broken we are as grown-ups when we try and have normal adult relationships. We're exceptionally creative in our childhood because oftentimes we're spent alone by ourselves in our bedrooms, in our own heads. We also talk to ourselves. Only children are far more likely as adults to walk around and mutter to themselves because only children talk to themselves. They just do. But here's the bad one. We also lie. We lie because we are never, as a child, held to account by a brother or a sister who is like, no, Mom, he's lying, or what. It's always our word with no witnesses. And that manifests itself in some pretty dangerous ways as an adult if you don't get a hold of that early as an only child.
Huh. I didn't think about that. That one, the lying. That makes sense the way you explained it, though, but that's not something I would pin on an only child.
Only children typically don't have any accountability, whether it's to a parent who wants to believe what their little angel is saying, or no accountability to a brother or sister who's going to call them out on their bullshit.
Well, it's part of the trait matrix of the sociopath, and look, I am not a sociopath in the fact that I don't share the human connection and empathy with my fellow human beings. I am capable of genuine emotion. I feel love. I feel hurt. All that stuff. But I do feel the sociopathic tendency where I enjoy manipulating people. Like if I can talk you into putting a shoe on your head or something ridiculous, I find joy in that, right? But that is a trait of sociopaths, and that is something that is actually more common in the firstborn, which includes only children as well. And I kind of turn around and I look at that last comment we put up there is, if you're the kid that's put in charge of these other kids, you're trying, see how far that you can test your authority. You would do that by manipulation.
Yeah, that's the only child trait.
But Manipulation is a horrible word for it. I was trying to think of something better, but I failed myself because manipulation.
Being devious in order to get what you want, because you always get what you want, because
Let's
you're an
not
only
think
child.
I don't want to put a negative concept. No. Better word, persuasive. Persuasive is probably a better word because manipulation means you're persuading someone for devious purposes, and it hints
That's
at
often the case. My son is very manipulative. I love my son. He's incredibly brilliant. He's a really smart kid. He's clever, but he's manipulative. He plays the long game on you.
So are you a good salesman, James, in that regard? Because if you can do that, then you can kind of play to people what people like and what they don't like, and get them to do kind of what you want them to do in order to buy stuff.
Well, I'm not an only child or a firstborn. I'm not a great salesman. And I have that trait that Pugs described as I'm kind of a tattletale. I'm a little too honest to be a good salesman. Not to shit on salesmen because I'm not saying
no. Let's do it. Let's shit on salesmen. I can't sell. Most salesmen.
Yeah, I'm not a salesman.
Most salesmen are pieces of garbage. I mean, they really are.
Real slick with the mouth.
Well, I say this, we work in radio, so we know a lot of like salespeople, and we know a lot of good ones. There are good ones, but yeah, I mean, I can't sell. I can't sell unless if it's something that I truly believe in, then I can hype. I can hype it, and I can be excited, and I can try and get you on board. But dude, if you're sending me to cold call folks about buying these new widgets that we're selling, I can't fucking do that.
Yeah, I suck at that. I hate that. Suck at that.
No, and I thought I was good at selling until when I worked in New Orleans at iHeart. I went on a lot of sales call because I was the talent. I wasn't a producer anymore. I'm the guy behind the microphone. So you go on sales calls and you trying to get them endorsements, and that's where your money comes from.
Right.
And there was a point of all these meetings where I just had to stop talking because I don't have that gene, and they do, and it's a skill, and I wish I had it, but I don't. I can do some selling on people who are, similar personalities to me, but some people need to be flattered, and I'm not capable of that. Some people need to be sold, and I'm not capable of that. I'm way too honest.
My friend Bob is the greatest salesman I've ever seen in my life, and I've been in any number of meetings with him where we're pitching and we're selling, and he's what I always love about it is when it's over with, he like breaks me down. Like, here's what you did wrong. He tells. So James, when you said you're sitting in these meetings, you just want to you just want to stop talking, because that was always my problem. He used to tell me, he goes, you don't accept yes. Like when they say yes, shut up.
Shut up.
When they say yes, shut up, because now you're just going to talk them out of it. You got them there. Switch the subject to cowboy football or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got a high regard for people who are good sellers, for people who can really do it. But there's a lot of hacks out there. There's a lot of, you know what I mean? Yes, Al. I'm talking about Bob Lavelle. He's like the greatest salesman I've ever seen in my life, and he's so good in a meeting.
And his hair is amazing. His hair is startling.
His hair, amazing. and then he's strutting around in like $10,000 suits with like alligator boots, and just like so great, just so Texan. It's just it's the best. But yeah, I can't sell, and that is definitely a skill that I have respect for.
All right, hey, I wanted to do it before we were running out of time here. You sent out a video that I'm kind of chomping at the bit to break down.
Oh, what's that? What do you want to do here? Which one? I sent you a number of things because I'm not entirely sure that I could share things yet until we get the situation on my end fixed. What do you got? Because I know I see you.
Okay, that's
Justified or Not was one. Justified or Not was a couple of videos that we could watch where we would decide if it was, this one. Good. Okay. The lady walking through New York City. Yeah, this is good.
All right. So first off, this video is at least 5 years old, because I remember talking about this on the James show
really?
when I was doing mornings in New Orleans. Yeah.
Yeah, that happens with these viral things. I just saw this floating around. I don't know. I saw it and I sent it to you immediately. So whatever.
No, it's a great setup. It's a great setup.
It's a terrific thing, and I'm glad you're familiar with it, because I want to just let it play. We'll watch it, and then we'll have a conversation about it. Key, here's what's happening. This is a girl in New York City, Manhattan, looks midtown or something. She decides that she's going to walk around. She walked around, I don't know how many hours. Looks like a time lapse. Looks like, could have been 10, 12 hours that she's just walking around New York City. She's wearing blue jeans and a black T-shirt, right?
Okay.
And she's being recorded. They're filming all of this.
Yeah,
And
so she's fine as hell walking through New York, and there's a comrade of some sort walking behind her by about 10, 15 feet.
filming.
Yeah, and getting the audio of what it's like to walk around as a hot chick in New York City.
All right, first of all, I want to push back on something. She ain't a hot chick. She's all right. She's a Manhattan 6. She ain't a hot chick.
Well, she's not absurdly hot, but
But she can make it happen. Like she can take you there.
She's the cutest girl at a Scranton Gap, right? That's what she is, and that's fine. But I'm used to Hollywood hot, and it ain't Hollywood hot.
She's not Hollywood hot, but walking down the street, she's the hottest chick on the block most of the time.
I don't know. It's New York, man. There's a lot of hot chicks in New York.
There's some good ones in New York, though.
They got some real good ones. All right, go ahead.
All right, Pugs. Let's watch a little bit of this. You want to sit through the whole 2 minutes? It's only 2 minutes.
Yeah. I think it's interesting.
Let's go.
So this is what a woman experiences walking in New York City.
She's not a dime, but she's hot.
10 hours. Silent walking through Manhattan wearing jeans and a black tie.
That's not good. Wow. Hey, what's up, girl? How you doing? Somebody's acknowledging you for being beautiful. She's an eight. Hey, baby. Hey, beautiful. Have a nice evening.
God bless. The sexy American Eagle.
This guy, this creep.
He's a murderer.
Look, 5 minutes just walking that street.
You doing good? Hey, look at that. $5,000.
Oh, $1,000. Look at this guy.
We can't be friends or nothing. You don't speak. If I give you my number, you can talk to me? No? Too ugly? What's up, man? How you doing? Nice evening, dog.
All right, well, James, I don't know. It was it glitchy on anybody else's end? It was glitchy on my end, but not totally unwatchable.
Yeah, it's a little glitchy, but I can watch it.
Little glitchy. Okay. Well, there you have it, James. Take it.
Let me start with the most offensive angles first. First off, she walked around for 10 hours, and yes, a lot of guys said a lot of things to her, but nothing negative actually happened to her other than verbal annoyance, right? So if you want to make the argument that cat calls are just harmless words being floated into the air, this would be the supporting video. Not that I support it, because those guys are scumbags, and talking to chicks like that, it's just, I don't know, it's really dumb and base, and it never works. Like, have you ever scored with a chick because you just hollered at her on the street? I'm not saying that
It must have, James. It must have worked. I hear what you're saying, and it seems like that's not something that would, but it must work. It must work.
I've seen it work. I have a friend Malik who used to do that. Just be like half the time he was joking around.
But girls and then get numbers.
He would just say the most absurd, and they would just turn around. Okay, not all of them. Some of them would get mad, but he got a lot of numbers that way. He's like, watch this, and would just say like, "Hey, what's up?" And they would turn around, "Hey," and then he would just.
Right. If it never worked, men would stop doing it 100 years ago.
No, they wouldn't. No. If you attach negative consequences to it, men would stop doing it. But there's no negative consequences just telling a girl to smile. The other thing that I'd like to point out that's amazingly offensive is it was almost exclusively brothers. I've gone through, and I didn't watch all 10 hours of it, but I watched a non-edited version of it.
Oh yeah.
And it's It's not all black guys. There's white guys that say something. There's a couple of Hispanic guys.
It's 95% black dudes. It's like, oh, I noticed that too. And it doesn't matter what age. This isn't a young black man thing. This is an all black man thing. There was an old man in a purple pimp suit who was probably about 70 years old, who was like, I just saw $1,000 when she walked by. Yeah, James, I'm glad you pointed that out. I was also going to point that out. But what is that? Is that cultural? Is that
Yeah.
Keynote, you're the only one allowed to talk about that. Go ahead.
Well, like I've dated a lot of sisters in quotes, and they seem to like a lot more aggressive. They like the more aggressive guys, whereas like the white girls I've been around, the white girls I've dated, and so on and so forth, weren't so much. They thought it was rude or it was annoying. Whereas the sisters and some it was half and half with the Latinas, but it tend to like a little bit more of aggression. If not aggressive, then you're kind of weak. They want to be. Not be rudely spoken to, but they want to know you're ready to step to them and you're going to say what's up because you want them. They want to be chased. They want it. Whereas in my experience, a lot of white women seem to see that as being rude or annoying. You know what I mean? And so so if that's your culture, and a lot of my friends who are black, they're a little bit more aggressive when they talk. Not all of them, but some of them, and it seems to work for them. And then most of the time they're hollering at sisters or maybe white girls they think is gonna, holler exclusively brothers, and it works for them. You know what I mean? And Hispanic men get down too. They're a little bit, sometimes gonna be downright creepy.
Yeah, at least that's the stereotype, right? I used to watch Chico and the Man.
Yeah,
Freddie Prinze was always getting into it.
Yeah, but no, it's like that. They'll stare at you. Like my mom used to get so mad and start screaming in Spanish when she was younger. We'd be out and I was little because they would just stare and say something kind of low and just be like, and just looking. And it's more like that, but more verbal when it comes to the brothers, because the sisters like a little bit more aggression. They like to be.
You brought the interesting thing up about Hispanic men. And if you felt comfortable enough to just speak for sisters, and yeah, that was Keynote. Keynote was speaking.
I
for
said
all
it, man. I've dated quite a few. There.
I'm going to add to that. In Latino culture, Latin culture. Excuse me if I fumble around the wrong word. There seems to be a much greater degree put on traditional male-female roles. And by that, what I mean is the dominant male, the submissive female, macho, the macho Latin male who's, like Tony Montana, putting his woman in his place. So culturally speaking, that does seem to be something that I've seen reflected, whether it be Hollywood or, or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, just like anything else, it's like stuff can be overgeneralized. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not necessarily aggressive like that at all. Like all the women I've dealt with, I've been talked to, like they'll holler at me because I was too shy. It's like I don't even want to deal with getting rejected, so I'm not even going to try. You know what I'm saying?
Basically, what I'm saying there, Key, is that your people are more rapey. They seem more rapey than white guys.
I'll put it down. A little bit more rapey.
Black guys are also very rapey. It seems like as far as the yo girl, I mean, I don't know. And almost any time you see like a white dude doing that, he's always doing it, but he sounds like Eminem. You know what I mean? Like you never hear like
he's an urban white.
He's
an urban white.
although that's not true. That's not true. We saw hardcore dirtbag white, one of the very first ones, because I watched it a couple of times because I was like, that is interesting. It is all black dudes. Like I noticed it too. Very early on though, there's a New York Goomba, there's some Italian guy. He's like, how you doing, darling? There's a couple of those guys.
Yeah. It also depends on what part of the country you're in. What I've noticed is I've spent a lot of time in New York with a significant other, and it was getting non-stop, whereas we go to other cities, it wasn't as much. In Los Angeles, when I was staying and living out there with a significant other, she was getting it, but it was more creepy and quiet. It wasn't just so verbal. It was more like low and like personable. It was just weird.
You know what? I think that's what it is, James. I think we just accidentally stumbled across it. By the way, Al, I'm not saying that all Latinos are rapey. I'm just saying in that way that you can't call strange women on the streets, that's a little rapey. That is just by today's. I'm not saying that all that. I apologize.
Right. On the spectrum of Jesus to rapist, it's more toward the rapist side.
Right.
And to quote the last Puerto Rican chick that I dated, that's not my wife. She said, and I quote, "Rapey looks good on you," which means
no.
That's what she told me.
I don't know that that's.
And I didn't agree because that's not me.
Right.
And I was just like, well, that's what she likes. I was just like, nah, I'm not the right dude for you then. You know what I'm saying?
Let's talk about what the white guy does. All right, so we know we've now seen the black guys like yo girl and the Latino mommy, that whole thing. All right, the white guy ain't doing that on the street. You know what the white guy's doing? The white guy is wearing the members only jacket with the weird haircut, and he's showing up to your work, and he's not saying anything. He's just sitting in your section. He's sitting in your section like every single day.
I respect that. I respect that more personally. Because it takes more planning. Where if you just the street to holler, she keeps moving. But if you're putting on a members only jacket, you're showing up to her just maybe you're matching. How do you know? That means you've been watching her.
Members only jacket and those Jeffrey Dahmer glasses, and you just sit alone in her section.
On the top.
Yeah.
Now Barney's stealing my thunder here because I was about to make the point that catcalling does not exist in Bug Tussle. There's no such thing as catcalling out here. There can't be catcalling because if a girl walks by and then you go, "What's up, baby?" She'll be like, "James, you're married. I'm going to tell your sister you said that." Right? I work with your sister. Yeah.
And if a girl walks by, it's probably because her car ran out of gas because you guys drive everywhere. Manhattan has high traffic sidewalks. That's why this happens.
Right. Not a lot of pedestrian situations.
Not a lot of foot traffic.
You walk past people in the grocery store. The thing is, if you don't know them, you know somebody who knows them. And so you just don't run your mouth and you don't fart in elevators and you don't catcall ladies and you don't do a lot of stupid stuff that comes with the anonymity of living in a big city. And that's one of the things I loved about moving to Dallas. It's like, hey, nobody knows me. This is great.
Yeah, that is true. I'd never considered that. You can totally get away with more stuff in a big city just simply because there's... What did he look like? In your town, it's, well, he looked like one of the Parkers. They'd zero in on you.
What did he look like? He looked like James.
He looked like James Parker, who you went to high school with. Go arrest him.
Oh, yeah. His sister was my kid's teacher in 5th grade, and so I get connected like that. Or his mom works at the post office. Nancy. Yeah. I'm screwed. You can't get me with crap out here.
Well, Barney, this sounds like a sad serial rapist kind of comment here from Barney. I was never single in a big city, but seems like if you see a woman that looks good, you will probably never see her again.
That makes sense. No, I mean, it makes sense. So you got to go for it.
Yeah. Well, the guys in the video are like, so what if I piss her off? I'm never going to see her again. I'm never going to see her brother or her dad or have to do business with anyone that she knows. Or
it just seems a little fatalistic. Like, what do you mean you're never going to see her again? I mean, when you live and work in a big city, you probably have a number of places that you will frequent with some regularity, and there will be a universe that is established there, and you'll start to see the same waitresses, or you'll start to see the same girl walking her dog. You will build your own universe in a big city of new people. You don't have to just get rapey with strangers walking down the street. There's plenty of opportunities in big cities to meet people. You have no idea what the social club scene is like in a downtown big city apartment building. It's crazy. You're going to meet people.
Yeah.
All right. Let me throw out one more controversial opinion while I have your ear here. I hope you don't mind. But I can look, as a man, I don't want to say I can speak for all men, but I'm pretty sure Keynote, Pugs, and every guy listening to me would agree. When I see that video, if I walked around New York City and women were talking to me like that, I would be over the moon. I'd be so ecstatic. Yeah. My dream come true. What is their nightmare is my dream come true. And I have no explanation for that. It sounds stupid when I say it. Like I can hear it coming out of my mouth and think that sounds stupid, but it's still true. Like I would, oh man, my greatest dream in life is I could walk around New York and have all these women tell me, hey, smile. You're so pretty. You got a boyfriend. Where are you going? Can I go home with you? You don't want to talk to me? Oh, you're so pretty. I dream to be treated like that.
You know the difference is because of the power dynamic. If a woman says to you while you walk down the street, hey baby, you can turn and be like, no thanks, and with no worry about being raped in the alley. A woman, when it's turned like that, she truly does have to be concerned about the physicality, the violence. Who is this guy? You're not worried about that. You're a 6-foot-something man. Some woman is like, yes, flattering. But speaking of the flattering thing, apparently, gentlemen, and maybe this isn't anymore, but years ago, we went on a number of what we called gay pub crawls, where we went to a bunch of different...
Oh, I was there.
James was there for one of them. Yeah, I think we did 3 years in a row. But the big one was one with Eric, and that's the one you were at, right? Where we hooked Eric up with a dude.
Where we were testing if he was gay or not.
Right.
I think I remember that. I do
Hey,
remember that.
Yeah, we did the gay date and it was with Cisco Vegas.
Cisco.
He was the one who won the contest that Eric had to go on the gay date with, his little black twink.
He was just like, he was like a twink, but he was like a little black kid. And I met him, he was wearing a yellow boa and he was shirtless and he was just dancing on the dance floor.
He was going for it.
Did he light up a room or not?
Oh my God, don't pump gas around him. He is on fire. So I walk into we did these gay, apparently, James and Key, at least back then, I was kind of an object of desire in gay. I had I had a line of suitors, if I do say myself, and
Nice.
I was flattered. We're not doing anything because I'm a straight dude, but really? You mean if I was gay, I could have my choice of him, of him, of him?
You would have a lot of lovers. Yeah.
Yeah. So James, you're right. On some level, the woman's ego has to be stroked by the fact that men find her, appealing, because that is a very natural sort of desire to want to be desired. That's how our species has gone on. You are desired, you get banged, you have a kid. Boom, next generation.
Well, like just a question when it comes to different ethnic groups. When I would do clubs and I have to host a lot of clubs, okay, I'm hosting a club. The women were very, very aggressive. A lot of times it was not all, it was pretty mixed, but mostly, as you say, the urban whites. And then you would have like some Latinas and a lot of sisters. I'd be talking, Head Crack Kid, who was on here as well, can attest to this. Be standing there, you be doing your thing, you're live on the air, the music's going, and you're hyping up the club. They'd walk by and just grab your peen. Just grab it. And or talk to you, whisper in your ear, grab your peen, and maybe grab your phone, start putting their number. Just like you're getting arrested.
Party girls. I don't know if it necessarily falls along cultural lines.
I mean, there's party girls.
No, man, a drunk rich white girl is just as likely to grab your junk and get crazy when she's wasted. Women. When women get out of control and they get sexualized, when they get drunk and they're like, all right, I'm going for it. Women embody all of the absolute worst depictions that they think men have. Like, have you ever seen a girl's bachelorette party? They are doing everything that they think men do. They're going over the top. They're getting crazy. They're getting nuts. What they don't realize is most men's bachelorette party are a bunch of dudes sitting around playing cards.
Yeah.
And a busted out stripper shows up, and then you're awkwardly standing there with the bride's dad, getting the lap dance. So the girl bachelorette parties, they always take it to another level because they think that men are taking it to the next level. So whenever a girl goes out and she starts to be, the predator, man, they're way worse than guys. They will flat out shove their hand down your pants. And I know some guys will do that too, but those are the rapists. Those are the ones that everyone knows are the bad. But girls just do it like, well, I guess guys do this. No, not all guys do that.
Right. I just didn't know. I just didn't know if that was just in like the hip hop clubs. And I've seen the bachelorette thing happen with party girls in general. That just goes across all lines because I've seen Asians get down. I was just wondering, but they've been pretty. I almost felt like clutching my pearls. Like, oh my God, I feel like I've been.
I know. James, have you ever been with an overly aggressive girl and you're like, well, I just don't like this?
Never.
Because I have.
Yeah, I have.
There's a couple, but the one that comes to mind is when I first started working on the Pugs and Kelly show. I had a night job being the assistant manager at Vitamin World, and so I was in Valley View Mall, and across the hallway was like this urban clothing store.
I know exactly where you're talking. I remember that.
Silly.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Awesome. Yeah. So Cleo and his whole family, they were all Arabs, and so they hired other foreigners to work there. And there was this chick that worked there from Romania, right? And I don't know what goes down in Romania, but
bad stuff.
I could probably move there and just be fine because she came over and she had like the Borat accent. Is what it sounded like to me because I'm a hick. I don't know shit. But she sounded like Borat. But she would come over. She'd like, "You have girlfriend?" She don't know how to treat you right. I know how to treat you right. And she would just start rubbing on my junk like over my pants, like over my khakis. You know, like if no one was in the store, like that's a little forward for me. You know, like
Yeah.
I don't like doing that European thing where when you meet someone, you have to like kiss them on the cheek. You know,
Yeah.
well, like I don't even like that. And this girl's like rubbing my zipper.
Man, look,
That was dominance.
the European thing. I love the European thing. Italian girls, French girls. My friend had a French foreign exchange student come and live with her for an entire summer, and we just hung out with her all summer. And I just fell in love with. Well, every guy did, because she was like this beautiful 16-year-old French girl who's suddenly hanging out at the mall with with all of us.
Oh yeah.
It was like out of a movie. But I mean, I like French girls. I like European girls, dude. But Eastern European girls, the ones you're talking about, the broken Balkan ladies, those Romanians, Ukrainians, those people are nuts because they've been through hell. They're normal. I told you about long story short, when I was working for a porn group, we had this girl who was one of the porn models, and she had a shaved head and she did a bunch of weird stuff. She came from like Chechnya, and I ended up having a conversation with her about, when did you come here? And she just told me a story, and just so matter-of-factly, she told a story about how she looked out. She was in school, and she looked out the window, and she saw in the schoolyard a Russian tank running over her brother.
Yeah, that'll do it.
This is why you're in Chicago doing porn. This is because that was your life experience. It set you on a path, and now you're here. It wasn't porn, but it was like, stripper things.
Which is close. It's a cousin.
So
It's
did you hook up with the Eastern Romanian girl?
No, I had a girlfriend and I didn't. But now looking back, I totally should have, and I feel like such a wuss for not doing it because it didn't work out with Ashley anyway. So I just missed out on a Romanian affair, which could have been another great story to tell on Pillow Talk here.
And she could have killed you. You can count that because those women, they will kill you. They will stab you in your sleep.
Dude, you know how hot? Look, I try and explain my wife right now, like, because she was probably like 40, 41, which is like my wife's age, and I was about 25, 24, 25 when I met her. And when you're 24, 25-year-old guy, there is nothing hotter than a 40-year-old chick. Because you're just thinking like, I've been blowing through all these like 20 and 23-year-olds, but this chick knows things that I haven't seen yet. And so then when you hook up with one of them, it's confirmed that this girl is way better than what you're used to. And then you just aspire to that.
I just talk some shit on Eastern European girls. Key, what is the craziest ethnicity chick? What is the craziest chick? Like I can tell you, like black girls are like way confrontational. Irish girls are like way confrontational. Jewish girls are not confrontational, but they play the long game. They will get you in the end, but it will take like 3 weeks, for whatever time. How about you? What has your experience been? Russian girls are nuts. Irish girls are nuts. Black girls are nuts. That's my list.
I would say that's been the stalkers were the not necessarily the Mexicanas. They've been pretty chill, a little aggressive once you get with them. But
I
like
stalkers, Mexican chicks. I think Mexican chicks are cool.
Yeah, no, they rule. But like the Puerto Rican chicks, I've been stalked. Didn't need to stalk me, but just stalk. Don't care if you have a girl. Keep on coming by the crib. Hey, I'm good. You're beautiful. I appreciate it. To the job. Try to the club, to stalking, follow your car, and crazy about it, not caring. I'm gonna get you and tell you they're gonna get you. Don't care if you have a girlfriend or not. And I've had a couple of occasions where this was the case, and I've been, with a lot of like African American women. I've been, just and mixed chicks and all those kind of things. But the straight up Puerto Rican chicks, in my experience, have been woo, like not. I mean, even when I'm visually, I'm like, look, I appreciate it. You're amazing. No, straight up, no. Even with I've had my girl there at the time about to fight, and she kept coming back. Like it just.
James, let me ask you now, James. Tell me, what is a redneck girl done wrong like to deal with? That's probably an area that you have some experience with.
Well, there's nothing specific to rednecks, but the most amazing redneck girl you can find, it's the same across all demographics. The one that wants to piss off her dad the most. It doesn't matter where she's from on planet Earth. Those
That
are the
actually
ones.
checks a lot of boxes because you can do that for Italian girls. You
For
can
all of
do
them. It
that
don't matter.
for-
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And look, Italians got a vote over there. Africans got a vote over there. I only dated one girl that was actually from Africa, and because she was a coworker, and I stopped dating her because she asked me to pee on her, and I was not down with that. Yeah.
Okay.
And so I didn't know if that was like a third world thing. Like, is that more common with foreign girls? Because I didn't. That threw me off. It's like I'm not eating like a fish that still has its eyes in it, and that I don't do anything.
Yes, James, it's a third world thing. They can't really eat, but they're very sexually advanced. They're very, as far as their peccadillos go.
No,
very
but I've never been with them. But the group I'm most suspicious about is the Germans, and that's
Yeah.
Google, if you start Googling what the Germans are into, you're gonna be very disappointed.
I was married to a half German girl. She had a lot of the German traits, had a lot of the German culture in her background.
I've been on tour in Germany several times, and they were a wild bunch over there. Yeah, I've been over there quite a few times.
Biggins, big ladies, big
ladies,
beautiful ladies.
square heads. You got some square heads. A lot of them. I got a square head, but they got some big square
James
heads.
James would fit right in over there, and
I
look at
got
him.
one too, man.
He's got that beautiful Aryan square head. Not me.
Aryan
I've got
dominance.
an egg. Look at me. I've got a shaped egg. I look like a thumb. Look at me.
A
Seriously.
handsome thumb. A handsome thumb. A handsome thumb.
Well, aren't you kind? All right, Keith, thank you so much. Keith's been here with us tonight. How about a round of applause for him? There
Thank
he
you, sirs.
goes.
Thank you, sirs.
All right, James is here as well. Thank you, James. Appreciate
James.
that.
Yeah,
Everybody-
I appreciate you enjoying this episode because we're gonna have to delete the hell out of this as soon as it's over.
Why? I think it's one of our better episodes.
Yeah, well,
Episodes. I was just,
it's not to run for office after this episode. We don't delete it.
why? Because I said expensive baseball gloves are made out of the skins of Negro League players. Is that why you're so concerned? Oh, now he's gone. Now he's gone. Like that's a bad thing. I didn't say that I made them out of them. I'm just saying. By the way, that's obviously a joke because that would be illegal. Can't imagine that that would be okay. At least not after 1965. Oh, goodness, we're having fun tonight. I don't care, Byron. Do whatever you want with that clip. I got no issue with that clip. I think it's funny. Ding. Join me tomorrow for High Noon. We'll do a High Noon show tomorrow. We're still going to have some problems, so I won't try and share anything. It'll be a normal show. It'll be good. On Monday, all of those issues that we had today. Guys, I got to tell you this. If you missed the show today, if you missed the High Noon show, you may have heard during the live stream we did the histories and the birthdays and all that, but we didn't get into the trends. Well, as soon as I got everything up and running, I just did that. I did the whole trend segment of the show the way I normally do, and I recorded it. And now if you go to pugscast.com, you can see today's trends. It's like another hour and a half or something of just me going, and Fox News is going to redo their lineup. It's all that. So you can find that at pugscast.com. I believe it says trends and hot topics and all that. And it's the one on this date. There's a lot of garbage on this date because we were having problems, but the most recent one from this afternoon will have all the trends, and it says it right there. So if you feel like you missed it, you didn't. You didn't. It's still there. And that's my love of the game. See, I could have just been all upset about the streaming issues earlier today. I could have just chucked it in, but I didn't. You know what I did? I just said, you know what? Well, I'm doing the show anyway. And I recorded it, and now it's up there at pugscast.com. So I missed the chat room. I mean, it can't be something that... You know what I was thinking? Here's what I was thinking. I was thinking that could be I could do something like that on days when I know that I'm not going to be around at noon. Like I could maybe record for an hour and a half. Anyway, I tried it. Check it out. It's there at Pugscast. Never-ending quest. See you tomorrow at noon. High Noon Show. Tomorrow on the Radio Misfits podcast platform. Check out Florida Stories. That's James's awesome podcast. See you tomorrow. I'm Pugs. He was Parker. We're gone. One more from Hinkley.